more than anything, I've had frontline support. They're frontline officers that they don't agree with the pandemic laws. They don't want to be enforcing them. It's not what they signed up to be a police officer for. I didn't do that. I know that these people didn't sign up to enforce draconian lockdowns, to shoot rubber bullets at people that are peacefully protesting, that are unarmed. We didn't sign up to, put our feet on the neck of Australians or Victorian citizens. So I know that they are quietly behind us. They're still in the job. We need good cops to stay in the police force. More than anything, we need good cops to stay. I don't advocate for them to leave, but I do advocate for them to fight behind closed doors. Do what you can. Call out the rubbish and the ridiculousness that you hear from your supervisors and above. Don't issue tickets that you don't agree with. You don't have to. Treat human citizens, human beings like human beings, and human beings and protesters will treat you accordingly. Hey, it's nice to finally meet you.
Well, I could say the same. I think a lot of people, when you came out and spoke out, you encouraged and gave people power. But now you're running as a candidate for the Liberal Democrats. Can you tell us about who you are, where you're going, what you're doing?
Absolutely. So I think obviously most people know that I was a police officer. I quit my job effectively live on Matt Wong's interview on Discernible because I disagreed with the way the Victoria Police was being used by the Labor government. I did not like the direction that Victoria as a state was going, so I had to stand up and say something in the absence of voices from anybody else within the police force. And look, Avi, I've got to be honest, it was people like you and other independent media that I saw that encouraged me to get out to see these protests for myself so that I could see with my own eyes the difference between what you were reporting and what mainstream media was reporting. So you were a part of my journey. When I started to develop an interest in politics, I went and researched all of the different political parties that were available to join, because I wanted to join a party in some way, not necessarily as a Senate candidate. That was certainly not the intention at the beginning. So I reached out to a lot of politicians. I sat down with various parties and I had conversations with them about what their policies were and what they stood for. I came across the Liberal Democratic Party. I read what their policies were. I really identified with the fact that they are about freedom and democracy and individual liberties and responsibilities, smaller governments, less regulation, and really what the Liberal Democratic Party stands for is that we're held accountable by the people as a party, and I thought that's fantastic, that's what I want to align myself to. So I made inquiries to join the party just as a member, and then obviously, I quit my job. I had a lot of people say you need to stand up and be a candidate, and I just thought, that's not really what I want to do. This is certainly something that's outside of my comfort zone, but if not now, then when, and if not this fight, then what fight? And if this is how I can help Australia, if this is how I can help the Victorian people, then I absolutely want to stand up, step outside of my comfort zone and do what I can. I was a project officer at Gender Equality and Inclusion Command. I was an acting senior sergeant.
So how does it feel to go from there, then to join this crowd here and then be labelled by the same people who claim to care about all those things that you used to fight for in the police force? And we probably have differing views on a lot of that, but how does it feel that they are the ones attacking you and almost labelling you just by association, by being here, as exactly what you spent your whole life fighting?
Hypocrisy, absolute hypocrisy, and I can't stand it. If you want to appreciate and value diversity and inclusion, then you need to live those values every step of the way. Don't be a hypocrite. Stand up for the rights of everybody. Diversity and inclusion is about making sure that minorities are taken care of and that the majorities don't step on them. So right now we're in a society where, unvaccinated people might be a minority, so they need to be protected and taken care of, not be labelled and filled with hate-laden speeches and just called terrible names by those that are on the other side. And I don't want to talk about left and right, because I think that just sort of buys into that segregation and that hate versus hate. We can have polite, professional discourse and conversations about these issues, and we can educate each other and we can learn new things, and hopefully what we get out of this is that everybody learns a little bit more tolerance and respect for everybody.
Well, I've got to tell you, the silver lining for me, as a polarising figure in the political discourse space of Victoria, is actually I've seen these protests as some of the most diverse and, whether it's politically diverse, whether it's racial, cultural, these crowds are not one group of people. And I've finally been able to engage in discourse with people that I may not agree with on a lot of ranging issues. But for me, this has been an eye-opener to what diversity and inclusion should look like. And I hope we get to see more of this. This is the first time, I've always been against diversity for the sake of diversity and, all that kind of stuff. But here I feel like it means something.
It's real, isn't it? And what we witness here is that you can have those conversations. And you're right, we have so many different political parties and viewpoints here on so many different issues, but everybody is able to have them respectfully. And that's what we want.
Well, I've got to say, the party you did join, we may not agree on every single policy, but one thing I can say here safely to camera is that with this bill, you guys fought tooth and nail to the end, and well done. And I know a lot of Victorians have noticed that work. We have one more chance. I know it's a long shot. We're trying to get the governor to not give that stamp. That's her job. If the governor's watching this now, this is our last chance. What would you say to the governor?
Look, it might be a little simplistic, but I would say kill the bill. It's not needed, it's not warranted, it has too much segregation and divisiveness in it. There is far too much control to people that should not have control. It's dangerous, and it is not a path that Victorians want to go down. Listen to what the Victorian people are telling you, Governor, and do not put your rubber seal on this bill.
Thank you so much, and good luck. We'll follow you closely. Thank you.